The first thing I think that's always important to me when I talk about inflammation is that the inflammation is the body's healing response. I think that we have gotten so far down this medical paradigm that pathologizes everything that we have lost touch with how miraculous our bodies are and how everything our body does is for our survival.
I'm Robin Thomas, the founder of Living Well Connections, a healthy living community that supports, educates, and empowers us all to make healthy decisions toward a more balanced and fulfilling life. I have a background in medical research, and I love exploring the interplay of our physical, mental, and spiritual selves. Today on our podcast, I'm so happy to introduce Elizabeth Thompson of Deep River Wellness. Elizabeth was introduced to homeopathy in 2003, shortly before the birth of her first child. She now has 4 children, all of whom have been raised on the mainstay of homeopathy. Through homeopathy, coaching, and bioenergetics, Elizabeth helps you get to the root of your health issues so you can live more abundantly. Her mission is to help you discover a vibrant and joyful life by reconnecting deeply to your innate wisdom and inborn capacity for health and vitality. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, Robin. Thank you for the intro and for having me.
I'm excited about this because even though we only recently met, we've talked a couple of times, and I really feel your energy. I really do. I feel like there is a connection.
Yeah. Definitely. When we have to when we find those connections, we have to really follow those threads.
We have to follow that and nurture it, and yes, not ignore it, because energy is real, and it really is, and we need to pay attention to it. We absolutely need to pay attention to our own energy, what we're putting out to the world, and what we're receiving from the world too. It's fabulous. I'd like to know a little bit about more. You said you were, it was right before the birth of your first child when you discovered homeopathy. Tell me a little bit more about what about homeopathy sparked really your journey into becoming a health coach.
Well, I don't know really what my journey would have been like as far as being a mother without homeopathy. So I say that I found homeopathy shortly before my birth of my first child, but it was really before I conceived my first child, because that was my impetus to find homeopathy, because I wasn't cycling regularly and I wanted to have children. And I won't go into the long story of the going to a gynecologist and how he just gave me a pill and said, take it, and did nothing. And then he said, well, take it again. And I was like, but it did nothing. Well, it did make me cry for a week, but I'm not going to do that again. And a friend was working with, it was really bad. And so a friend was working with a homeopath, and she suggested I go see this homeopath. I had no idea what homeopathy was at that time, but I was kind of like, what are my options? I don't really want to go down this path of pills because it already wasn't my paradigm. So I went to see this homeopath, and she really helped. I really got back on track, and it was both the homeopathy and reconnecting with my innate wisdom of what I did know deep down I needed to be a healthy person, because you really have to be a healthy person to get pregnant. That's something that if we're not super healthy and in alignment, our body is not going to prioritize that. So it was just a huge help. And then once I started having children, that homeopath was really a mentor for me and helped me to raise my children, without reliance on all these drugs that really a lot of us don't want. So that was kind of my natural introduction to this paradigm and this world. And because I've had 4 children now who have all been very healthy at large, I have just naturally learned a lot and leaned into this work.
Hello, fantastic friends. This is Robin Thomas, and I'm interrupting this episode to share a wonderful guide I've written to help myself and others get started with any health transformation, called 5 Ways to Get Started with Healthy Habits Without Getting Overwhelmed. This free guide leads you through 5 small steps that will allow you to ease into healthy habits until they become a natural part of your life. It's wonderful if you're just not quite sure how to get started. As you feel better, you'll become comfortable with your healthy habits and begin an upward spiral momentum of wellness. As a bonus, you'll be invited to join my healthy living community on Facebook, Living Well Connections, where you will find more information and heart-centered support for living your best life. To get this helpful guide, go to robinthomas.biz/community-support, and I'll put it in the show notes too. Drop in your email and it'll arrive straight in your inbox. Now, let's get back to the podcast.
No matter what our age, inflammation is often key to finding out what's going on in our body. And I've been doing a series of podcasts on inflammation, and I love your take on it and how you see how inflammation works. As far as even more into the energetic part of it.
Yeah, this is a favorite topic of mine. That's why I was so excited to come and talk to you about it today. The first thing I think that's always important to me when I talk about inflammation is that the inflammation is the body's healing response. I think that we have gotten so far down this medical paradigm that pathologizes everything that we have lost touch with how miraculous our bodies are and how everything our body does is for our survival and for our thriving. Everything. And that includes inflammation. It actually has a purpose. And when we can I think just shifting our mindset and our energy sometimes around our bodies, whether that's inflammation or whatever it is, to a stance of trust and knowing that our body really has our backs and that it's not broken, just that shift can be so big, because it doesn't mean that we're still don't have things that might be hurting us or we don't take certain actions, but there is absolutely, I believe, a healing that happens when we can shift from being at war with our bodies to being on the same side as our bodies. And that to me is a really, yeah, that to me is a really important message to get out there, because when we are on the same team as our bodies, we can heal. So that absolutely.
Our body knows what it's supposed to be doing.
If it didn't, we would be dead. I mean, it's a miracle we're alive, right?
It is a miracle. It is a miracle. And if you've ever looked at the biochemical pathways in our body, it's just phenomenal. It's just an absolute miracle. And our body knows how to heal itself if it's given the right information. Yeah, if it's given the right information, it does. It does.
Absolutely.
Well, if we think about. Oh, go on.
I just want to give a quick example with an acute inflammation. Like if somebody sprains an ankle or something and that gets swollen, that is, the body is sending all of its healing energy there, the lymph and the blood and everything that needs to heal. So it actually has a purpose. And sometimes I think we try too hard to get that swelling down. I'm actually not a fan of icing an injury. In most cases, because we're reducing what the body is actually sending to heal there.
I agree totally. I also agree with like a low-grade fever. That can be healing. It's the body. It's the body's doing its job.
Exactly.
So I'm never worried too much about low-grade fevers with my children. It's like, okay, we'll just make them comfortable and make sure it didn't go too high. Yeah.
It's definitely about making them comfortable and letting the body do the work that it does so well.
Well, how about chronic inflammation? What's your thoughts on chronic inflammation?
Well, chronic inflammation, yes, it's similar but different. Chronic inflammation is inflammation that has gotten stuck. It still has a purpose, but it's almost like we've gone out of alignment. So the body it's working on something, but it's working almost either too hard or in a way that's gotten stuck. And how do we get out of alignment? I mean, I think that so much of our lifestyle today is out of alignment with our natural rhythms and how humans have evolved. If we think about the fact that I'm in this room right now, if I'm not, I'm not outside, I'm not in contact with the earth, I'm not in contact with the air, I'm not, have natural light on me. All those kinds of things are how humans have lived since we became humans on this earth. It's only in the last 150 years that has really been mitigated, and I actually think that's a lot of how we've gotten out of alignment. Of course, our stress levels too are way higher, and so the fight and flight response of our nervous system has often gotten stuck. So we're late for an appointment, or we lose our wallet, things like this. We have so many of these little stressors that can add up and almost leave us in like a chronic state of stress. So to me, it's about how it becomes chronic when we've gotten so far out of alignment. And this isn't like, you're bad because you've gotten out of alignment. This is like our whole world is kind of set up to pull us out of alignment. It's
yes, you're living in this world today. Therefore, there's environmental factors. There's all kinds of factors affecting us that we didn't have as a people 200, 300 years ago. Even some, I always like to bring up my mother, 98 years old. When she was a child, there was none of this electronics. I mean, if they had electricity in the house, that was something, that was special. Just to have a light bulb in the house.
Yes. I mean, it's amazing really how things have changed since like your mother's childhood. It's faster than any time in human history. I'm sure we're all aware of that. Right. And our biology is not adapted to it. It's so recent.
Right. So this, not at all. So what can we do? This leads me to how you can help people, or how we can help ourselves by becoming in alignment. And there's so many different ways to become in alignment. It's not simply taking a pill, as we talked about before. So what are some of the ways that you bring biofrequencies into the picture, or just natural occurrences into the picture? What are some of the ways we can align ourselves?
Yeah. Well, first I want to touch on the idea of taking a pill, because it's absolutely not going to get us into alignment. In fact, what medication usually does is suppress the symptoms. So if the chronic inflammation is on your skin and you're putting cortisol on it, well, it might erase the inflammation from the skin, but that inflammation is going to go somewhere else. We're not solving the problem of getting more into alignment, of connecting more deeply with ourselves. And therefore, it's not actually healing anything. So the ways that I like to address this are multi-layered. One thing that everybody can do is try to get more into alignment with how humans evolved to live, because that's going to be supportive of your biology. It's going to allow your biology to function more smoothly and bring things to resolution. Because going back to the example of the ankle that was sprained, yes, that swelling has a purpose, and we want the swelling to be there shortly after the injury, but we don't want it to stay there. It should swell, heal, and move on. So whether it's the ankle swelling that gets stuck or some other inflammation, we can support that by getting into alignment with how our biology was evolved to be in alignment more. So examples of that are things like just being outside more. So one of the things I like to do is just take little outside snacks throughout the day. We think about fueling ourselves. We might eat something, little snacks throughout the day. But I like to think of sunlight, air, and earth snacks too. Just going outside for a couple of minutes. If it's nice in the spring, I like to take my work outside on the deck. just thinking about health not just being what we eat, we have to expand it beyond that. So one of my favorite hacks too is making sure that we're getting our light right. We don't often think about how light is also a nutrient. It's also a food. And we need the light on our skin. We need it in our eyes. It helps to set our circadian rhythm. One of the big things that I think some people are aware of is blue light. And if we get too much blue light, especially late in the evening, then our body doesn't know that it's time to rest. And if we want to get out of an inflamed state, if we want to heal anything, we need sleep. And we need a lot of things that come with sleep. One of them that we're aware, I'm sure a lot of things we're not aware of. I always like to remind ourselves that there's things that we'll never know about how amazing our amazing body and universe work. But one of the things we know about is melatonin. And melatonin is our master antioxidant. So if we're trying to heal and get rid of inflammation, we really need to optimize our melatonin production. And the way to do this is to give our body a signal that it's time to rest and it's time to produce melatonin. And it can't do that if we're looking at red light on our screens late at night. So I have a whole blog post actually about mitigating blue light. One of the ways to do that is to turn your phone screen red, to use blue blocking glasses, to use red light bulbs, or just blue light bulbs without blue spectrum in them at night. There's a variety of things that you can do, but I really think light is one of the ways we've gotten most out of alignment with our natural rhythms. Another one is putting our feet on the earth, which you mentioned, Robin, about gardening in bare feet. So maybe you can talk about how you get earthing or grounding. I liked the example that you shared.
Yeah, it combines a number of your things you've mentioned. I'm going outside, being out in nature in the sun, having my bare feet grounding, and my hands. I mean, my hands are always in the dirt, so I'm grounding all over. And I do this with small breaks. I take computer breaks because a lot of my work is on the computer. So I take computer breaks frequently and go outside in my yard, which I'm very blessed to have a nice yard to explore and see things, what's blooming, especially in the spring, and just ground myself emotionally and physically.
Yes, it really affects not just our physical bodies, but also our mental, emotional bodies. And those things aren't really separate either. Modern medicine has such a way of compartmentalizing everything. But from my perspective as a coach and as a homeopath, we are one person. In homeopathy, we talk about the vital force, which is the essence of who you are. And that is what is driving your health, whether it's mental, physical, whatever it is, it's just you. And that's, what we want to address. So that kind of takes me to homeopathy. If we wanted to address things at an even deeper layer, we can use some of these energetic modalities. But actually, before I talk about that, I did want to talk just briefly about other things with getting back into alignment with nature. And that's things like good water with electrolytes, exposure to both heat and cold, whether that's cold plunges and saunas, or simply, opening the windows and letting that air in. Just, again, things that bring us more into alignment for how humans have lived forever. And that is where our body is going to function most optimally. That's how it knows how to do what it does, get the signals to do its cleansing pathways and all that kind of stuff.
That's really great. You have a couple of modalities you use. I don't know if you want to mention them that are it's available to us working with you, or can be available to us individually. But often things that people don't think about or haven't heard about. Can you introduce us to a couple of those?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, the so much of healing is about the body being able to function and move things efficiently, and our emotions and nervous system being able to move things so we don't get stuck. Like I said before, so many things in this day and age of kind of unnatural living kind of get us stuck. And medicine, conventional medicine often exacerbates that by simply, suppressing things and not actually getting them moving. So, homeopathy, of course, is something that I've been doing for 20 years and is one of my favorite things. And what homeopathy is actually an energetic medicine. Most people don't understand how it's different from naturopathy or and something like that. It gets confused with that, but it's very different because homeopathy takes a natural substance, and initially the way we would make a homeopathic medicine is we'll make a tincture. So we can take onion. There's a common homeopathic remedy made out of onion. So you make a tincture of the onion, but then you dilute that tincture many, many times. The first dilution itself is 1 drop of the tincture to 99 drops of a substrate. And then you keep diluting that substrate further and further, or that dilution further and further and further. So you're actually getting less of the physical substance and more of the energetic substance. That's what gets concentrated. So the more you dilute it, the stronger it gets. It's a little counterintuitive. And what these remedies can do is actually help your body express and move what it needs to do so that you can move through your healing responses and actually heal rather than continually suppressing things. So if we take the onion example, this is a very oversimplified example, but it gets the point across. If you have hay fever and your eyes are burning and watering like they would if you were cutting an onion, homeopathic onion might actually help your body to heal that and stop that pattern by taking that remedy. And there's, homeopathy is great in first aid situations or acute illnesses. And I teach about that. But I also work one-on-one with people who are wanting to move through chronic conditions, whether that's inflammation or, everything is inflammation ultimately, but whether that's, a kid with chronic ear infection, someone with migraines, depression, whatever it is. And I will match a homeopathic remedy to you as a whole person, taking all of your symptoms and idiosyncrasies and everything into account. And you'll take a remedy, and we'll continue to do follow-ups to help you on this journey. This will help your body to reach those stuck places, those subconscious patterns, all those things. It's really this amazing medicine that can help move your body towards wellness. And we always say it's not the remedy doing the work, your body's doing the work. This remedy is resonating with you in such a way that your body can complete the healing actions that it needs to take.
Right.
So that's one of my favorites. And then more recently, I have gotten involved with a frequency device, which I know you do as well, Rob. And you have this device as well, too. And it's very similar to homeopathy because homeopathy is working with energy and frequencies. And we now have the science to be able to have a device that can vibrate these frequencies to us. Rather than it just being on a pill. You can actually scan for homeopathic remedies with this device, which I think is really cool. It's a nice adjunct that I use sometimes. And it can vibrate those to you because all of these things are energy. And it brings us back to the truth that the foundation of all of life really is energetic. Everything's energy first. And we know from quantum physics that everything, even this book, is 99.99% frequency, energy, the vibrations. It just is taking this solid form here, but it's not all just solid form. And, there's only 5% of our universe that even takes solid form, 5%. So if we really want to get to root causes, we've got to get to the energetic level. And these are my 2 favorite modalities for really getting to that energetic level, to connecting deeply with ourselves, with where we're out of alignment, and bringing us into alignment, into resonance with ourselves and with our environment so that we can heal and thrive. And It's basically that simple.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, this has been, we could talk for a long time, I know, but let's wrap it up. I know our listeners would like to, I'm sure they want to learn more information, would like to get in touch with you. I'm going to ask you for that blog post to be able to put in the show notes. So we'll have some more information in the show notes. What is the best way for someone to reach out to you? Is it your website, or what is the best way?
Well, my website, deepriverwellness.com, is a great way, and there's a contact form on there. Or you can also join my newsletter from there. I'm also on Instagram at Deep River Wellness. And you can message me on there. Those are probably the two best ways.
To the best way. Okay, great. And people will go according to, I'll put all those links in the show notes so we have them. This has been so much fun, and it has so hopeful. We can be aligned. It can be a journey finding yourself, really connecting with yourself, but it can be done. I've seen it happen, and I've experienced it myself. So
great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so
and thank you everyone for watching.
Yeah, thank you so much, Robin, and everyone watching. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for joining me at my Over 40 and Fabulous podcast. Please let me know if you have any questions about this episode. I will publish new episodes at noon Eastern on Saturdays, so you can listen and watch at your convenience. If this podcast has been helpful for you, please share it on your favorite social media platform or share directly with your fantastic friends. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next episode.